Last year's video still holds up. I'm just saying that is probably one of my best 15 things videos. That is probably the best 15 things videos I've made. It's probably going to be better than this one. The one I made last year for Godzilla King of the Monsters is just kind of weird. There's a lot of weird editing that I did in that video, but I think it's funny. So at least it made me laugh 1 year later. What's up, everybody? D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Vs Kong news and update. No, what are we doing? Godzilla Vs Kong discussion video. God, I struggled to say Godzilla Vs Kong. I was really trying to not to say King of the Monsters, and then I messed up what type of video it is. It's a discussion video. So I've been doing these 15 things that need to happen in Legendary's Godzilla sequels ever since 2015. They always come out on June 23rd, except for last year, in which it came out on like June 30th because I messed up and missed the date. But I want to get this one out on time, so we're working on it now. So 15 things that need to happen in Godzilla vs Kong. Actually, I'm gonna add one more bonus thing because I always add a bonus. It's usually like 17 things in these lists, but I'm just gonna add the one bonus this time. All right, let's run through the list. It's not a list of most important to least important, by the way. It's just a list of things I want to happen. There's no order to it. There is a separation between do's and don'ts, but we'll get there around number 13, it looks like. Number 1, respect the source material. And when I say that, I'm not talking about, you know, oh, you gotta make sure you don't step on the other MonsterVerse movies' feet. We'll get there. I'm talking about respect the source material. Do not make this movie making fun of the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. Do not make this movie making fun of the characters of King Kong or Godzilla. I'm really worried about that, and I don't know why exactly. Adam Wingard hasn't proven that he's as big a fan as someone like, say, Michael Dougherty. I'm a bit worried that there's not gonna be the respect that there should be for the source material, especially because of some of the jokes that Wingard used to make on his Twitter back when he still had one. I don't know if he does anymore. I think he deleted it. But back in the day, some of the jokes he'd make, it would just be like, I don't know if I want that guy touching Godzilla vs Kong. And I talked about that back in the day. It's not like I have something against the guy. It's just me being nervous. I mean, he could surprise me and turn out one of the best movies ever. He could turn out the best movie ever. I don't know. I'm just saying that at the point I'm at, I'm like, I'm nervous is all. I'm not saying it's a failure or it's gonna be a failure. I'm not saying that I don't have faith in him. I'm just saying that I'm nervous. Anyways, respect the source material, respect the franchise of both characters. King Kong has a long legacy that you gotta uphold, longer than Godzilla's. Don't mess that up. Don't make a joke out of the character. I mean, we've had King Kong movies that have done that before, and those are the ones that people typically dislike. Don't mess up the characterization of Kong, especially coming off the heels of Kong Skull Island, which does Kong perfectly. So respect the source material, and I'm especially worried about respecting it for Kong, because I think Wingard can probably handle Godzilla. You know, he seems to know enough about Godzilla. He seems to be enough of a fan of Godzilla to where it's like, all right, Godzilla's probably in safe hands. What I'm worried about is Kong. I'm worried about the way they're going to treat Kong. So treat Kong right. Next up, and this is also equally important, is respect the MonsterVerse. Do not play with the rules of the MonsterVerse. And I know the MonsterVerse gets increasingly more unrealistic with each installment, but don't all of a sudden turn this one into some crazy sci-fi movie. This still is the real world, essentially. There is a lot of realistic elements to the MonsterVerse that have still been upheld all the way throughout. Let's keep it realistic. Let's keep it grounded. Don't mess with it too much, all right? Also, make sure you carry over the continuity. Don't mess up anything from the previous films. I don't think they're gonna do that. It seems like the MonsterVerse is pretty good about trying to maintain continuity, especially with Kong Skull Island to Godzilla King of the Monsters. They seem to understand where they're at now. Godzilla 2014 has some things that contradict the rest of the MonsterVerse, but just as long as 2014 is the only one that has those contradictions, it's okay. Respect the MonsterVerse. That's the point I'm trying to make. Build upon the characters that we have left. I would say build upon Serizawa's story arc, because I would have thought that, yeah, he'd be a good one to be the main overarching character for the MonsterVerse, but then he died. First of all, be careful with that. You know, you want to make sure that you don't do anything to retroactively ruin his death. So keep his death how it is. Don't mess with it. Make sure that we feel the loss and the impact of his death. Build upon the characters we have left. I want to see a lot more of Eileen and Ling Chen. I'm really excited excited to see more of them. Zai Zhang is confirmed to be returning, so I'm excited to see what they'll do with that. I want to see more of those characters. As I've talked about in previous videos, I think they are a great place to build upon the MonsterVerse from, as those two characters. Also, I want to see more of the Russells, both Madison and Mark, and I know we are getting both of them, but it seems like Madison's going to be much more of a focus than Mark in this movie. I don't quite know how I feel about that. I mean, just make sure that the Russells are dealt with properly and we build upon their characters and story arcs in a way that's natural to the universe, and then we'll be fine, you know? Ultimately, if they do it well, it doesn't matter which one of them gets more screen time over the other one, because if they do it well, they do it well, you know? Finally, with this one is just keep building upon Monarch. You know, I want to see more of Monarch. I really like the direction Michael Dougherty took Monarch, and I know he made a big deal about passing it on properly, so I do think they will treat Monarch right. But I want to see more of Monarch. I want to see more of those side characters returning. Maybe Sam Coleman can come back for a cameo. Maybe we can get Barnes and G-Team back. I'd actually really like to see G-Team back, but I don't think they will be. Do something like that. Next up, bring back Houston Brooks, at the very least. I don't know who else you could realistically bring back from Kong Skull Island and have it make sense, but I definitely want to see Brooks return. Maybe you can bring Sand back. She could be okay. I think she's might be dead. I'm not sure. But bring Brooks back. At the very least, bring Brooks back. I want to see more of him. I loved his return in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It would make sense for him to be in Godzilla vs Kong, so why wouldn't he? Reference the comics. I mean, we have the comics now, right? We have Godzilla Awakening, which is it canon? No. We have Godzilla Aftershock, which is canon, and we have Skull Island Birth of Kong, which is definitely canon. Reference them. We want to hear more about that stuff. I want the universe to feel like it ties together. One problem I have with the comics is that they feel so disconnected from the MonsterVerse as a whole. It's like not even the same thing, you know? The comics are like their own universe. I want them to at least have some sort of tie over. If you bring back Aaron Brooks, that'd be a really cool way to do it. Have him mention in passing, oh, I got stuck on Skull Island before. And then you're like, oh, okay, so the comics did happen. Maybe you give a little bit more exposition for the normies, the audience. Maybe you do that. But at the very least, referencing the comics would be nice. It'd be nice to know that they do exist in this universe. Give Kong some time to shine. I'm really worried that this movie's gonna shortchange Kong in turn for being a Godzilla sequel. Director Adam Wingard has confirmed that the movie is more of a Godzilla sequel than it is a Kong sequel. And it makes sense. Coming off the heels of King of the Monsters, it makes sense that you build upon King of the Monsters. I just think we should get a pretty even split between screen time for both characters. I actually think it'd make more sense to give Kong more screen time than Godzilla, because Kong is a more sympathetic character. The audiences can relate to him more, and it also feels more right. Kong has always had more screen time than Godzilla has had. He's always been more of a character in his own movies than Godzilla has, so give Kong some time to shine. I want to see Kong doing some cool stuff in this film. And that brings me to the next point, which is make Kong formidable. You definitely have to worry about that, because Kong is small compared to Godzilla in Kong Skull Island. I mean, Kong is like 100 something feet. Godzilla is now 400 feet. So you're gonna have to beef Kong up, make him big, make him 300 something feet tall. It'll be okay. No one's gonna be like, oh, that's unrealistic. It's a giant monster already, so it's already unrealistic. Don't worry about the height difference. Who cares? And if you're like, well, people don't grow that much. You know, I started out like a foot tall, and now I'm 6 feet tall. I grew 6 times my own size. By that logic, Kong could be 600 feet and it makes sense. It's not a big deal. You know, when I was a kid, I was like 3 feet tall, and I doubled in size. So Kong being 200 feet at the very least, which that would not be enough to fight Godzilla, but 200 feet, that is not even a stretch at all. So pushing it to 300, if you're like, well, now my suspension of disbelief is being tested, it's only going to be tested a little bit. Make Kong formidable. The way I would do that is I would make him far more intelligent than Godzilla. I would have him strategize and reason, and I would really show that Kong is almost as capable of thinking as humans. I would show that he is equally as intelligent. I would give Kong a massive speed advantage. He can dodge the atomic breath. He can get out of the way. Godzilla's kind of got a disadvantage because he has to light up and charge up. So Kong's going to know when the atomic breath is coming, so he can get out of the way when he sees it building up. Kong should have more sheer strength in terms of brute force. Kong should be able to punch harder than Godzilla can. It just makes sense. So give Kong a little bit more of a mean right swing, you know? And then give Kong the use of weapons. Have him use his environment like he does in Kong Skull Island. Godzilla certainly does not do that. So if Kong's over there like stabbing him with objects, that would give Kong an advantage. So definitely do that to help Kong out. And I would add the lightning hands back because they are badass and no one can tell me otherwise. I always love the fan art with the lightning hands. It's just so cool. It's not hard to explain either. You know when you rub your socks across the carpet and then you touch something and it shocks you? That's called static electricity. Just say that Kong has the ability to harness static electricity. He's a big furry monster. It makes sense that it'd build up in his fur. Give him the lightning hands. You could even do something like, oh, Jonah Allen messed with Kong's DNA. I mean, he's got Ghidorah's head. He just tampered with Kong and now Kong has lightning hands. I would hate that. I think there's better ways to do it, which is just explain it like static electricity. It just builds through Kong's fur and then he can harness it. That'd be cool. I don't know how I feel about genetically editing Kong. Reuse classic themes, not just Ifukube's themes, which I really hope return. It's a Godzilla movie. You got, come on, have them. You could do some King Kong vs. Godzilla soundtrack throwbacks too. That movie has some iconic music. You could reuse some of that music. I would reuse music from Ifukube, and I would reuse music from Kong Skull Island. I think that would be great. There's songs in Kong Skull Island that are some of the best of the MonsterVerse. Project Monarch, The Island, The Battle of Skull Island, those are all great. So I'd reuse some of those themes from Kong Skull Island to give some thematic tie-over between the movies. And also, it's so cool to hear Godzilla's music return in Godzilla King of the Monsters. It'd be cool to hear Kong's music return too. Maybe you want to go way back though. Maybe you want to use the 33 Kong music. They did it in Ready Player One and it was awesome. I don't know. It's up to them. I'm just saying reuse classic themes for each character. All right, number 9. You guys always seem to hate when I say this, but I'm going to keep saying it till the end of days. Turn Godzilla against humanity. You got to have Godzilla and Kong fight for some reason. I will do videos about why I think they're going to fight, about all that stuff this upcoming week, because I've got a lot of thoughts on that I can't squeeze into this video. But have Godzilla turn on humanity at least a little. I'm not saying make him fully the bad guy, but make him questionable. The last line of King of the Monsters that comes out of Dr. Chen's mouth is, he's only on our side for now. I mean, that's not her line. She says for now. It's clearly setting up for the fact that Godzilla does not like us, or at least he doesn't have to like us. Humans have done things that he may appreciate, such as Sarazawa reviving him. They've also done things that he might not appreciate, such as blowing up the oxygen destroyer and killing him. So I would have Godzilla turn on humanity at least a little bit, and I would have that be the reason. I would have the oxygen destroyer be the sole reason that Godzilla turns on humanity. He does not like it. He shouldn't like it anyways. He should not like that humanity has that power, and so he should turn on us a little bit, you know? I'm not saying have him go on rampages destroying full cities. Have him do something questionable where the audience goes, no, you know? Have Godzilla cross a line at some point, and maybe when he does cross that line, maybe he just so happens to do it on Skull Island and winds up killing some of Kong's natives in the process. That would give Kong a personal reason to dislike Godzilla. If you read the comics, Kong is the protector of the Iwi people on Skull Island. He wants them to be safe. That is his deal. If Godzilla crosses the line and kills some of the Iwis, now Kong has a reason to dislike Godzilla. And then you make it a little more personal. You also have a reason for them to fight that is a little less cliche than just they're big monsters. I just think Godzilla should have a moment like that in the film. Which leads us to the battle between Godzilla vs. Kong. Have it be in the daytime and have it be in a city. I don't care if they have 2 fights in the film. You could do 1 fight on Skull Island and 1 fight on the mainland. I don't care. I just want to see Godzilla fighting Kong in a city because we don't get that in the original. I want to see them fight in a city and I want to see it in the daytime because I'm sick of the nighttime fights. Kong Skull Island's end fight was great. It was in the daytime. It looked awesome. Have it be a fight in the day and have it be in the city so we can get some really cool, massive scale destruction scenes. And for Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm going to say pull back. Let us watch the fight. Don't have us be grounded. I still want that sense of scale that we got with 2014 and King of the Monsters and even Skull Island to a certain degree. I still want that sense of scale, but what I want even more than a sense of scale is to watch the fight happen without being interrupted and just watching the Argo jet fly in the way. I'm okay with that in King of the Monsters, but if something like that happens in Godzilla vs. Kong, then I'm gonna have problems with it. Next up, number 11, the rebirth of Mothra. I don't think this should necessarily distract from the plot. You guys know I've talked in the past about I think it'd be cool if Mothra is the one that breaks up the fight between Godzilla and Kong. She's the one that ends it, and we already know that the movie will have a definitive winner, so whoever wins, they could be going in for a kill shot and Mothra could stop them. You can do that. I'm not saying that has to happen though. I would like the rebirth of Mothra to be teased in Godzilla vs. Kong at the very least. I want to build up to it. If we don't get it in Godzilla vs. Kong, if they think it'll distract from the plot too much, don't do it in Godzilla vs. Kong. Have it be a post-credit teaser. That's okay too. I'm not saying force Mothra into the film if she doesn't belong here. I'm just saying I would like some setup for that. And then finally, Godzilla's redemption. This is the final do. The rest of them are don'ts. Number 12 is Godzilla's redemption. Because I do want Godzilla to cross a line to become kind of a bad guy, you know, up until maybe Kong beats him or whatever. You could have Godzilla win round 1, Kong win round 2. That would work. Godzilla beats Kong on Skull Island, Kong goes after him, and then beats Godzilla in the city. That way Godzilla could have maybe a redemption moment, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe Kong wins on Skull Island. I don't know why he'd chase Godzilla to the city then. Godzilla goes to the city, they fight in the city, Godzilla's on top of Kong about to kill him, and in this case, if we don't have Mothra intervene, you could just say Godzilla has a redemption moment. He's like, I'm not gonna kill this guy. I'm just gonna leave him, you know? Then you could have Godzilla have a little bit of a redemption, have a little more personality, and you could set up for the future, which I do think there will be a future, by the way. All right, here are the don'ts. Number 13, don't make it edgy. That is the biggest thing I'm worried about, is I'm worried worried that Adam Wingard is going to make the movie too edgy, the way he did with Death Note and the way it looks like he's doing based off the set pictures of Madison Russell. Looks like she turned into a real edgelord. I don't want to see that at all. So don't make it edgy, just keep it in tone with the previous movies and you'll be okay. Number 14, don't have Godzilla and Kong team up. I can't stress enough how bad of an idea that is for a movie called Godzilla vs Kong. Do not have them team up in this movie. It will be Batman vs Superman all over again. And people can say, oh, Batman vs Superman had other problems than just the team up. Yeah, you're absolutely right, but a big problem of it was the team up. It was forced. It shouldn't happen in this movie. Save it for down the line, and that's how I feel about this. If Godzilla and Kong are gonna team up, save it for down the line, and I do believe there will be a down the line. Just don't put it in this movie. It's gonna distract from the plot. It's gonna really take away from the fight. It just wouldn't make any sense. I hate that. I don't want them to team up in this movie, and I'm really worried that they're going to, because although there is going to be a definitive winner, there's no one to say that they're not going to team up after one of them beats the other one, and I really don't want them to. So don't have Godzilla and Kong team up. And then number 15, if there's going to be a movie after this, and I keep saying, I do believe there will be, don't kill either monster, don't kill Godzilla or Kong, just have them both survive and go their separate ways at the end of the film, and then if they want in the future, they can come back together and team up. But do not kill either monster, and I'm worried that they might kill Kong, so I don't want that. Alright, and then my bonus is continue past Godzilla vs Kong. I keep saying I do believe that they're gonna do that, and I'm gonna keep saying that because I have strong reason to believe that they will do that. You understand what I'm saying? I really do think they're gonna continue past Godzilla vs Kong, and so that's my next suggestion, is just set up for it. And there is my top 15 list for 2019. There is the top 15 things I want to happen in Godzilla vs Kong. I might do more of these videos throughout the year leading up to Godzilla vs Kong's release in 2020, but I don't know if I will actually remember to or have the time to, so we'll see. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. D-Man out.